Can you hear it? Welcome to Relay.
Nope, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. That's the right one. Hello and welcome to the Relay Station. This week, if you would like to watch my intro, you can pick up a Relay Station stationary pass for $372, and you can join me live right here in my room and watch the intro. Then I kick you the fuck out. If you would like to stream the intro, you need to pay Shiver 42 pounds of crab. If you'd like to read a transcript of the intro, you need to ask Triangularity very, very nicely and also give him some beer. And if you want to watch the intro for free, you have to tell Paul that he's a terrible person. Go back on then. Go back to what you went back on, then back up, then you have to go back to the beginning, do a backflip, and find yourself back in the future where you should have been in the first place, telling Paul that he's great and you can watch the stream for free.
Hold on. Marty, we have to go back.
Now, 2 days ago, I did an anger stream because I was angry. Paul was on it. There was some anger. I was wearing a T-shirt. I made some statements like, if CIG doesn't go back on what they've done, then there's going to be a lot of yelling on Saturday, and also I won't be wearing a bow tie. And then CIG went back on what they said. They went back on it completely, as I predicted. And I will start the show out by saying thank you, CIG, for listening. We're going to discuss a lot of other things, problems with lack of communication, lack of listening, and a lot of other stuff. But they did at least listen. So thank you, CIG, for that. There we go. That's hi, everyone. How are you guys doing?
Oh, I'm quite fine, thank you.
I'm great because I'm starting to be framed because a lot of people didn't know about this existed until they saw my tweet about the problems. Oh yeah. So there's starting to be a picture forming where I am the reason why this happened, and that I'm the reason why CIG is spending game development money on a live stream. What? When I've said many times when this was happening was like, if you can't afford a party,
don't throw one. If you can't afford a large party, then maybe make it a little smaller. And if you can't afford a party, just stream it live anyway. People will watch it from home. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. It's just one of those things that just is like, I'm both like, yes, please blame me for this, because that means that influencing works. Like that stuff that I do, the stuff that we do, the stuff you people see on Twitter and YouTube and Twitch, all of that works because it influences people's opinions, and which is great. But saying that it was me is grossly overstating the point, because there's plenty of people who dislike this beforehand. And B, it's you shouldn't be blaming me for CIG spending development funds. You should be blaming CIG. for not managing their financials well. That's like blaming a teenager, or blaming the parents of a teenager, or not blaming, but blaming a teacher for the fact that a teenager was overspending money to get to school. It's like the teacher's fault. It's like, no, it's not. It's your fucking child's fault. They're the one who stole your credit card so they can buy gas so they can drive to school. It's not my fault that they did that. God. So I'm honestly trying to even come up with where to start this week. Let's just start with this whole controversy itself, and maybe we'll talk about some CIG news later. Triangularity, when it first happened, like, what did you think when they first said straight up that there were going to be, you had to pay to stream it live?
My first thought was that I'm not going to see it because I'm not a fan for doing stuff like that. But I do understand that they are trying to cover the cost for the event. They got a huge event. It's never been that huge before. And 2 scenes, lots of panels. That's really great, but it might be escalating a bit too fast. The community really kind of big enough for, well, covering that cost and that kind of an event?
Yeah, is
that there's plenty of tickets and they haven't sold out. Not yet. That hasn't happened before. The tickets always kind of gone, flying off the shelves, and now they kind of still have tickets for the event, and might be a bit too big.
There's a reason why. Because there's more tickets than they've ever sold in the past.
Yeah.
And it's on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
So like before, they've already sold as many tickets or more tickets than there were last year, and possibly even both the last 2 years, 2016 and 2017.
But they went from like 700 capacity to like
6,000.
6,000. It's
much higher. So
yeah. So Triangularity, you were saying that you wouldn't have watched it, like you wouldn't have paid to watch it, right? You would have watched it on YouTube or something later?
Yeah, because it is not that necessary for me to watch it live. I would watch it quite truly. And, well, as a fan, I do kind of enjoy everything they put out.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So, I would really enjoy it. But the keynote is what's important. It's always been the keynote, and I would probably watch that live.
Right.
But the panels, no, not really.
So, Shiver, I know that you put some thought into this, and we're prepared to do some angry.
Yeah, I had angry notes ready, and I can still cover many of my angry points later. Don't worry.
Okay.
We'll get. But my initial thought, my first initial thought. Bear in mind, I did buy the fucking thing anyway because it's going to be a nice day for the missus and I. But my very first initial thought. Now I gave it a lot of thought, and I believe that I have a reasonable and mature response for my initial thought. Right there! Come on!
God.
Was my first initial thought.
Yep. Sounds about right.
To be quite honest.
Yep.
But then as I gave it more thought, things developed, and it was like, well, actually, we're going to give you the important bits for free. So it was like, okay, that's you're just forcing me uncomfortably over at the moment, but no penetration yet. That's good. And then they completely reversed the decision, and I felt like Harvey Weinstein had left the room.
Oh my!
He's not in cuffs. Just left the room.
Yeah,
which still makes you feel a little
that kind of relief.
You feel a little bit safer, but he's outside the door.
Yeah, you know that something was attempted, and he's still out there, and you're quite uneasy about it. But he's gone for now. Wow. But he's still out there.
So Paul, do you want to return us to some form of
to not a rape analogy?
Yeah,
sure.
Please.
Let's. So essentially, my initial thought was when I saw it, Nubsley, who ended up being the one who posted on Reddit, who got it onto the whole debacle. He came onto my Discord and posted a his actual response, or like the actual like thread.
Right.
And my thought was, he kind of had the quote and everything, and I was like, surely this is just like, hey, you can buy the goodies separately from the live stream. And then as I kept reading, I'm like, maybe it's just like portions of the live stream, because we've known there's other companies that have done that, where they have sections of the live streams where, because they don't have enough people or don't have enough interest in it, they have it, but you have to pay for like a pass for it or something like that. Which, I was like, I don't like that, but it's better than, not having it, I guess. And then I found out that the entire fucking thing was going to be behind a paywall. And my initial thought was, well, I'll put it on Twitter. It's just, are you fucking kidding me? And I knew exactly why they did it, was because they were stupid and didn't financially plan properly. They couldn't get a sponsor for it, and so they did the whole thing on a wing and a hope for a sponsor, which makes me go, who the fuck plans on hopes and dreams? Like, I understand the whole joke about have faith in CIG, but is CIG literally doing financial planning on a wing and a prayer? Like, who's the accountant? Someone should be throwing books at Chris Roberts or whoever's planning this. Like, seriously, don't push your bad business decisions on on your population or on your community. And then, especially after the response, but because you can't plan properly. I'm part of my job is to be a financial, personal finance teacher for students. And one of the things that we do is we force them to make this thing called a budget.
I've heard of those.
And on these things called budgets, you put down all the costs and you weigh the advantages and disadvantages. It's just one of the core tenets of economic thinking is cost versus benefits.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And you try to seek a place where you can fall within your budget, or maybe slightly outside your budget, with some ways of raising money in the meantime. And you usually plan ahead for a large event, several months to a year or so in advance. I don't just go on a whim and a prayer to go to Tahiti just because I have some days off. That's financially irresponsible, because I would lose money.
That's because you're smart, Paul.
But the thing is that the people who are behind CIG are not stupid. No. They've been running companies or have been part of production companies in movies and television and games for many years. So this begs the question, even if they didn't reverse the decision, it still begs the question, who the fuck was responsible for this planning? And if it's Chris, hire somebody who's not going to bobblehead with you. Who's not going to be like, yes, Chris, whatever you say, Chris. Because frankly, that's what it seems like. It seems like everyone's too afraid to say no to Chris or Sandy about an idea, even if it's a financially irresponsible one. And if you don't like that reality and you want to blame somebody else for it, you feel free to shove it off on somebody else.
It's your fault, Paul.
Those are the realities.
Obviously, we blame you. No, I know exactly what you're saying. And even then, I think my biggest problem with this is this was entirely predictable.
Yeah.
It was entirely 100% predictable. You're telling a bunch of backers that have paid upteen millions of dollars to watch the development that suddenly that's not going to happen anymore. Yeah, they're going to be pissed off. And if it comes down to money and you needed more money to, and yeah, Stormy, I mean it was avoidable. It was predictable and avoidable. They should have thought about it for more than a second. And if they needed more money, well, what they've done now is they've said, okay, we screwed up. We still want to fund it to make it better because it's going to cost a lot. Here's a digital goodies pack. We would like it if you guys bought that to support it. And guess what? That thing is probably selling really friggin' well right now because I bought one. I have no interest in it. I bought one because they made the right choice. They made the right decision to go back on their exclusionary bullshit They should have asked. Hey, Paul, Disco here. What do you think of this idea that we're gonna do?
You're going to get everyone angry, or it's going to be terrible. Not even EA does this. You should know this, Disco, since you used to work at EA.
Hey, Triangularity, it's Disco here. What do you think about this thing that we're planning?
It might be a bit too big, you know. It could be a bit less and less costly.
Shiver? I don't care.
Jesus, Disco, you look terrible.
Yeah,
but you're right. It doesn't take. The CIG always employ people that are really fucking good at their job. All right, these people are good at their job. So somewhere, someone along the line has seen this and gone, look, this is gonna be a problem. All right, this is too late. This is too little. We can't fucking do this. BlizzCon? They've released a number of games. Who's going to stop this? Because this needs to be stopped. It's not only the fans are going to be like, what the fuck? You know, you've taken away my crack. You're making me pay extra to watch this live. True.
Don't make me pay for my crack.
You had to concede the really interesting bits, which, now let's all be honest and frank here, that should have been free from the get-go. At no point should that have ever been on a paywall. That is the really important stuff that we need to see. Maybe not need to see live, but come on. We've given X, Y, and Z. Give a little back now. You're becoming more and more corporate and less dev on backer. And then there's the obvious thing of the backers are going to react badly to this. What the fuck are the critics going to say? What the fuck are the neutral journalists going to say? I mean, there's the saying that no, what is it? There's no such thing as bad press. But in the games industry, yes, there fucking is.
No, I will say, P.T. Barnum was right for CIG so far, because the thing is the whole idea of your money doesn't matter as much. Your old money doesn't matter as much as new money. That has been the theme of 2018 CIG funding.
Yeah,
that's been, every decision has been moving that direction, and this is the last. I think
it's citizencon War Bond edition.
Yeah, and the thing is that up till now, no bad press has stopped the juggernaut, which is CIG. And its funding. Yeah. Even some of the biggest YouTube drama, games drama people were talking about the $27,000 package. And it still didn't stop people. All it did was just expose Star Citizen to people who didn't know it existed, and then many of them went and bought packages. The reality is that bad news was good news for CIG because it was free advertising.
The reality is you look at the game and you think, shit, this looks good. People are bad-mouthing it, but I didn't have to pay $27,000 to get in. I had to pay $45,000, and it looks great. I'm happy. This is different. Okay. No. Okay, so...
Oh, you're angry. I could see you're angry.
I'm angry, but there's honestly so much to be angry about that I'm trying to think of which thing to be angry about next, because I do actually want to get to some of the stuff that was actually talked about. Because
why don't we? Because we could be going on and talking about the angry issues of CIG, forever. I think that's better saved for like an end of the year thing where you go pros and cons, what's happened so far.
Yeah,
I think what we should do, and as someone put it in the chat, and I agree, is instead of pointing out the flaws in CIG's logic, we should be pointing out what they could be doing better.
Yes. So
how could they prevent this in the future?
Go Triangularity.
Okay. One thing they really should do is that instead of using citizencon as a gathering point, they could actually do several these panels they're going to show on 2 stages on the ATV. It could actually fill the ATV with more than kind of 10 minutes of content.
Or RTV.
They could have, or RTV, of course.
I have to say, watch RTV this week. This week's RTV is freaking phenomenal. Like, it's actually too bad that there's this drama to talk about this week, because I could fill 3 hours just talking about the actual Star Citizen news that came out. The really cool stuff. But we've got
There's some really freaking awesome stuff that came out this week.
Like, this is a really, really good week.
Like Carbide Edge says, Todd Pappy is great.
Yeah.
Todd Pappy has woman's eyes, and I want to be lost in them. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. But instead we have to talk about this. So, Paul, good point, and Triangularity, good point. What else could they do? Shiver, what do you think that they need to do to make this not happen again?
Cynically, my first reaction is common fucking sense. People already think, people have this misconception that you need a $27,000 package to be competitive in this game, to have an edge. Don't feed the sort of, money thoughts. I appreciate the fact that you, as the way that the company is, it kind of has to be money, because there is no reliable source of income right now. They have no product. Their reliable source of income is when new backer comes in for an Aurora, or when we go, you know what, I quite like the look of that new Mustang Delta, I'm going to go and buy that, and so on. So I can understand why there is the need for money. But it used to be so much more subtle, like the product placement you had in the 90s before Michael Bay really got his hands on things, and just started leaving cans of Pepsi in front of the camera for 30 minutes. But it was better when things were more, hey, we're the devs, we're going to talk for half an hour. Oh shit, I said something I shouldn't have.
This show
and then
brought to you
people
by
go nuts and
Coca-Cola.
go, I'm going to go and buy this for one day.
And Star Wars.
Don't you have any beer so we can get
This
beer?
show brought to you by Invisibeer. Drink it invisibly.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't make political or monetary ads or anything like that. I'm just drinking a beer.
Totes just drinking a beer. No political statements at all from us here on the Relay Station.
And just before I hear anybody screaming in the chat or read it in the comments, I am from Texas. I live in Texas, so that's it.
Go Beto. Okay, so I'm going to move us over to the show and tell in a moment, because I do want to talk a little bit about some of the actual Star Citizen news this week. Keep in mind,
out of interest, before they reverse their whole decision, was the show and tell this week just this great big picture of rage?
There wasn't going to be a show and tell.
Okay.
It was just going to be, we were going to just talk about the bullshit and what they needed to do to fix it. And yeah, because
before we quickly move on, I want to say thank you to you, the community, who did kick up a stink over this. Yep. It is because this was picked up on because of you that this happened.
Yeah.
So thanks.
This proves that we can make a difference in the game still, and it is actually really good to know that.
Yeah, and I know this scares the shit out of developers, because I know plenty of developers out there who are afraid of community outlash, because community outlash is often the death, or they feel the death of games, or the loss of their control. But what the lesson shouldn't be that if you scream loud enough, you get you get what you want. The lesson should be, don't let your community scream loud.
Don't do anything that makes them scream. Like,
Warframe doesn't have this problem.
Yeah.
Eve, to a degree, and not even really Eve has this problem. If your community is this angry about something, sometimes you maybe need to sit there and go, what the fuck did I do to make the community this angry? Am I supporting this behavior? Did I fuck up somewhere?
We have lost one of the things that felt best about CIG, and I still think that that's a problem. It's we now have figureheads only. We have Disco Lando on every week. We've got the same people, and we only see the same people, and we no longer have this actual connection to the company. And I know that was a hard thing to do, but it used to be freeform. It used to be, this is what we saw, and if a dev said something stupid, they said something stupid. Now CIG are editing old videos to cut out statements that are made that shouldn't be made. Like,
well, we're in this weird new generation of gaming where it's acceptable to not only stream you just playing a game, and that's considered entertainment, but to stream sat around talking about a game. Yeah. So it would be really fucking interesting to have the devs say that, you know. And yeah, it's not every week it's going to be, oh, we were working on this. Sometimes I just want to hear what they had for lunch. It just felt personal. You felt more like, you know, oh, that was cool to hear about this. It just felt a little bit that more personal outreach.
Yeah.
You just don't get in many games at all these days.
So thank you to the community for raising something about this. Screw you to everyone in the community that said that this was people just wanting free shit, because I'm pretty sure that 90% of the people complaining about this were people that have been subscribed for 5+ years, were people that are you know, have put thousands of dollars into the game. This is not about something free. This was about keeping Star Citizen and the Star Citizen community open for everyone, and that is what Star Citizen should always be about. It's how it started, period. So let's talk about other things from Star Citizen this week. There's a just I don't even know what else.
You promised me we were going to talk about 2 Point Hospital this week.
No. Also, 2 Point Hospital sucks. They didn't pick. I love that crash. They didn't pick the funny puns that I submitted, so I don't like them anymore. Okay, what do we got? Mining work. There's
that's it.
Lorville's looking pretty. It looks like a building.
Did you get?
Look, we got.
Did everyone else get vague Blade Runner impressions off Lorville?
They're designing a city. Yeah. It looks future-y.
It's quite cool that they've got the smoke and steam coming off of there, and they did give thought to player obstruction, because don't forget as well, with the I want to say reactive cloud tech or something like that, that you can fly through there and have this cool little effect and stuff. I thought that was pretty neat.
Look,
I'm really looking forward. I'm really looking forward to they starting put the city together, so they can actually start kind of exploring it. Should be cool.
There's some green water. It's they'll be able to.
It looks good.
It does look good.
It does. Yeah. It looks good. I mean, it's not like Sea of Thieves, but
nothing is Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves is possibly the best looking water ever created by man.
Yeah,
video game or not.
It reminds me of a slightly better version of the water you see in Arma.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. And the reason why it's green is because it's polluted.
They should have made it red. Climate change, red algae, swarms.
Yeah, red algae.
Bad.
Yeah, true, but it's a different planet, so we don't know if they even have algae.
They're working on alternate colors for the cyclones. Yay!
That's one thing I'm really looking forward to, and that's one of the things that I'd like them to address is how customizable are ship skins and ship paint.
Yeah.
Because I know that they say you're not going to be able to go paint your armor the same color. You have to go find armor somewhere else and that kind of stuff, which I kind of disagree with. I don't mind that you have to do that. What I would like to do is have an option to pay to paint your armor, but it's going to take time and you have to go to a specific shop to do it. and then you may lose some like custom stuff on it or whatever the custom paint job or whatever you got it on it. Because it's an MMO and customization is important, but customization is very, I think, in with ships, being able to paint your ships in different colors beyond just the skins, I think is very important for an MMO to try to stand out.
Speaking about painting your ships, it could be actually way to kind of making work inside the verse. So you actually have to go to a guy ship that can paint your ship.
Yeah.
And he can prepare the skins in advance and throw it on the ships. So you know that there's this insanely good designer in that galaxy. So you go to kind of those planets to find him, put his kind of skins and tags on your ship because you enjoy how they look. So they could actually be play-made, but with kind of a final skins in advance. So it should be easier for the game engines to kind of.
I would actually really like that because, and it's a pretty gun. Look at the pretty gun. I hope that they at some point make guns feel good in game because they don't yet. But you talking about like going to a specific person and getting them to paint your ship actually kind of references something that they were talking about this week in RTV, which is really, really interesting. So they were talking about land and real estate and the ability to actually buy physical hangars. Like you're not just, your hangar is an instance with everyone else in a series of 1,000 hangars on a planet. You have to actually buy your hangar, and there'll be like a couple hundred hangars that you can buy on a planet, and you have to pick yours and buy it. And that kind of makes you think of like, what else will they do with the economy? Will they have something where I keep thinking puzzle pirates, just because all the economy and puzzle. I know, Shiver, you're looking at me sillily, but like,
I don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Me neither.
You don't know what puzzle pirates is?
Thank God.
No.
It's a really old browser-based MMO where you were pirates and you had a pirate ship, but everything on the ship was puzzles. So like match fours and different, like it was.
So, but it helped you get better at the 3 R's.
Reading, writing, and rating.
Yes. But you'd go to a shop and you'd order yourself a cutlass, and the cutlass would sit there in the to be built quay, or queue for those of you that suck.
I think you'll find it's pronounced key.
I always just pronounce it quay, and my wife laughed at me when
I always pronounce it quay also. So
it's French, right? So it should be quay, right?
Well, it's QUEUE. It's a pool Q. CUE is Q. Mm-hmm. Why does it not change when you add an extra U and an extra E? It should be quay. QUEUE, quay. Like, anyway. What was I saying? Right. You order a cutlass at this shop, and then people have to go and work at the shop, and they work X amount of hours, and then your cutlass is produced. And I kind of like that idea for something like a paint job. You go to a person that you know is good at it, you order it from them, they do the painting mini game, and then you get your ship from them. Or for upgrading, like modifying weapons and stuff. You overclocking. You take your gun to someone that's really friggin' good at overclocking, and they overclock it for you. They have to do all of the game mini games and the tweaking and stuff, and then they give it back to you. I like that.
Yeah, me too.
And they talked about that a bit with real estate, and like you'll be able to move into a place and it's yours, and then you can decide later that you don't want it and you can sell it, and maybe the land value has gone up because the city that you bought this hangar in is now more in demand and more people want to land there, so you can actually make a real estate like there's gonna be fucking real estate in Star Citizen, like. And no one's talking about this because we've had this dumbass, stupid drama to deal with when we've really just found out that there's going to be real estate in the game and you can buy ship hangars and they're not instanced.
They're huge areas. They're passing the planets going, this baby can hold so many HAB modules.
Yeah. And you got to remember that the HABs and the hangars will not just be at Lorville. They'll be on some of the other smaller settlements. They just won't have. As like those won't be landing zones particular. You'll have to kind of go in through Lorville, but you can go park yourself at like
tracts of land.
Yeah.
I wonder if they got actually real kind of trading in plots of land with real currency. That should be.
Yeah. I just there's so much this week. Anyway.
It's going to be a black market for that.
Yeah, probably. Hopefully, anyway. And then one of the last things they show... Oh, no, come back here. Bind culling. Oh, bind culling. Look. It only cares about things near where you are. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic. Just, like, can't wait. Cannot wait.
Now, I will say, I'm going to take up my fire extinguisher, my hype extinguisher, and spray people down with foam so that they can no longer have their hype boners. No, stop that! I'll be the pure 10.
What if that just increases?
That's your fetish?
Yeah.
If that's your fetish.
Yeah.
But remember that bind culling and OCS and all of these things are probably going to be totally, completely, and utterly screwed in 3.3. They'll work, and the definition is that they're not on fire currently or completely broken. But in terms of working well, they probably won't be working well. It's always important to understand that any major technological advancement that CIG makes in the game will be will be measured mostly as completion versus polish. And so 3.3 is going to be a completion tech thing, whereas polish is going to come later.
The tech that we're getting...
In fairness, though, if it means that we're going to see the odd character flying around like he's in Wonder Woman's invisible jet, I'm all for it.
That may happen. That would be hilarious.
Fine with me.
I hope. Oh, please let that happen.
So... Actually, let's talk about 3.3. So Triangularity. 3.3 is going to be launching with citizencon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think that that's a risk? Launching a new patch with the basically the only.
Let's step back. This is the heiress who still believed that 3.0 was coming out in December 2016.
It was. It happened.
Okay? So with that in mind, let's also remember that CIG never said they were going to release 3.3 at CitizenCon. They said that they would be shooting to release an open PTU by CitizenCon. So, and usually by the time they've released an open PTU, it's 2 to 3 weeks until they release, which means they would be releasing it fully at the end of October.
I'm never wrong. Triangularity, did you think that that's actually a little bit risky, given that it'll probably be very broken?
No. Because they are sticking to the quarterly releases and not for CitizenCon. So that due to that, CitizenCon is inside the PTU, open PTU area, approximately.
Yeah.
You're gonna bet your ass I'm going to try to make it playable for the guys at CitizenCon. So you will see several kind of passes for 3.3. You'll see one pass that is containing a working 3.3, which is not filled with kind of the whole game, the whole alpha. So you will see some kind of a mix at citizencon, and then you will see a different. I would bet that it will going to be a different release at 3.3. So different patches. It's not going to be a hassle. Yeah, you can.
Okay, good.
Sorry, I just...
That you can't read.
Pompous ass. You can't read that because it's backwards.
No, now you can read it because I mirrored it.
Sasu up map.
I fixed it. Yeah, I fix things.
But I think I agree though. I don't think it's a risk because it's a risk releasing it early access anyways. Releasing it a quarter release is a risk period because you're just gonna. They're not good at it yet, and eventually they will get good at it, but it's gonna take time. And so what they've been doing has been working up till like 11:59 on the last day that they possibly can, and then finally someone's like, just fucking kick it out. Just kick it out, you know.
I have to say, and we're only 2 in, but their patches were both good. And if they can make this third one, and if they can make a fourth one, then patch-wise and development-wise, they will have actually done a huge turnaround this year based on previous years, if they can pull it off. Like, yeah, and huge.
It will be 2 or 3 years before everyone else catches up to the realization that CIG is actually releasing. Like CIG will reach beta, and everyone's like, "This is the game that's been developing for 8 years." Ha 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 ha.
Hey guys, you know what else?
Like, what the fuck? Where did all this development come from? It's like,
you know what else? You know what else has been development for actually longer than Star Citizen? Mountain Blade.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say, don't say CG Project Red's.
Cyberpunk also has that.
Difference being though, Mountain Blade, they've got at least rough ideas, better ideas of what
technology
they want to implement and technology build, how they want to build. CIG are still doing like we've done the foundational stage for the engine work. You know,
I think that
64-pin FBU.
But I think that's something really important to talk about because games aren't as simple to make. It's just not as simple to make a ridiculously complex AAA game anymore. And you're seeing other companies have problems with it too. I mean, even Ubisoft, who have however many thousands of devs working all over the world, have been like, yeah, we're not releasing an Assassin's Creed every year anymore because we can't do it. Games are getting too big.
Also, I do want to counter this because this has been a problem in this community and other communities as well, is Cyberpunk 2077 has been in development for 4 years.
Yes.
People say it's been in development since 2012. No, they made an announcement trailer, which was a CG trailer that they made in 2012.
Star Citizen was not in development in 2012. In 2012, they had 8 people and they released a cinematic trailer. They didn't start actual development of Star Citizen until 2014, when they had more than 100 actual people working at the company. Star Citizen did like.
But I was gonna go to that.
Okay, that, like, sorry.
It's important to note that to put into things, they didn't really start wrapping up pre-production or really ramping up pre-production until after Blood and Wine came out with 3. Which means it's been 3 or 4 years. So, and the problem is that if you use that as your basis, then we don't know what pre-production means. Because I wrote an article about this in for Relay about the Jesus patch, which was essentially I said, listen, games are not defined well. Like each company and sometimes each development team inside that company have different standards for different things. So what pre-production means could mean, hey, I thought of this cool idea for a game. That could be the start of pre-production. Or once they've gotten the engine built out and they start working on the assets, that could be the beginning of pre-production. It depends on the definition of pre-production. So as a result, some games could have been in development, like WoW could have been in development for only a few years to 8 to 10 years, depending on your definition of
or if you take Overwatch and you take it from when they first called it, what was it they called Overwatch before?
Titan.
I mean, if you take it from when they started Titan, Overwatch was in development for like 14 years or something stupid. Like it's anyway.
Yeah. So it really depends on what your definition is and where you define it. Yeah. And the problem is that there is no agreed upon definition. Even on alpha, no one really even knows what an alpha is. Alpha means completely different in the gaming world versus the software development world. And it means completely different between game and game. So I only wanted to bring that up because there is some clarification needs to be made that depending on what you think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I think it's important because I also don't think that Star Citizen's 2012 development counts at all. Like,
if we're looking at it at a traditional development stage, I wouldn't either, because it was more building company up than it was,
for the first 2 to 3 years they were building a company, and now they've got a company, and it's fuck, who was it that said it? Either one of Sony or Nintendo's people. It's just, do you want the game to release now, or do you want to release when it's done?
It was either Kojima or Miyamoto who said, a good game, a bad game, or a game produced.
Wait, I don't know. Everyone try it. Everyone try.
Well, the problem is
a bad game at release is a bad game
forever.
But a good game delayed is only delayed for so long. Something words to that effect.
It's still a good game. It's still a good game.
A game that gets rushed is bad forever. Yeah.
Yeah. A game that takes its time and to develop it will still be a good game.
Miyamoto. Okay.
It was Miyamoto? Okay. No.
I'm gonna switch us over.
Miyamoto, who has a kidnapping fetish, which is funny if you think about it. All of his stories for all of his games involve a kidnap, except for Star Fox, which still involves a revenge mission.
Yes.
So, Miyamoto, dude, we gotta work on your story development. I mean, I love you, but bro, we're getting some creepy vibes from you. All right.
Would it be better if he started every game as, like, say, I don't know, a prisoner of the land, and for some bizarre reason you were released to do whatever you wanted?
Listen, just because God Howard used to be in jail and he wants to make everyone remember that he was in jail by not actually telling people, but making them experience the cold, hard life of being in jail for like 3 seconds, doesn't mean that he's a terrible storyteller, just a lazy storyteller. There's a difference.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. We need some more questions. If you guys don't ask us some questions, we're going to go back to yelling about CIG because I've still got stuff I want to talk about for that.
Emote contest. I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know if you guys if you've seen that, because it was kind of slipped in.
I hope that's not your submission. Hey.
But Paris, for instance, your wave should definitely be an emote submission. I am going to submit one. I'm going to submit my party, like headbanging ridiculous devil horns emote. Just because we don't have one. Why don't we have one?
Can someone really submit my wave for me and do all of the work required, because I'm lazy?
All it requires you to do is to film yourself doing it and then submit it to their email. That's it.
Oh, he's done that already.
To be honest, yeah. Okay, let's get to some questions. Ask us some questions, because if not, I'm not even going to threaten to sing. We'll just go back to talking about the crap that went on. So, Triangularity, do you have anything to you want to touch on for stuff we saw this week that's exciting before we move to 2 questions?
Oh, the RT wheels. I really enjoyed the RTV.
Yeah.
And Todd is a person.
Oh my God! I just realized this.
What?
Watch the Jack Ryan on Amazon Prime, which I was looking forward to watching anyways.
Yeah.
You can get 400 bits on Twitch.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's one of the Prime loot things.
Oh, okay. I might have to watch that. Yeah, no, okay. We at Relay, we do either short notes, which will go up, I don't know, whenever Shiver puts them up.
It depends what it is. It goes various, like Calling All Devs is a Tuesday. Relay Replay is usually the Monday. This is usually a Monday.
You put up the RTV notes that we do now, though, right?
I will, yeah.
Yes. Okay, let's put up those RTV notes. But seriously, watch this week's RTV. This week's RTV is honestly phenomenal. There's so much information. They talk about... there's actually a lot of talk about the scramble races. There's talk about real estate. There's talk about mission sharing, which they want. There's talk about the ability to just... Scanning. They talk a little bit about scanning in something like the Endeavor for science rather than for threats. They talk about the ability to just go off and get lost in the black. Like it's a phenomenal reverse of the verse. And I haven't seen this many notes on something probably for weeks and weeks and weeks. So seriously, watch this week's RTV because there was a lot of crap this week. And I really don't want it to overshadow the actual awesome stuff that we saw. Because keep in mind, regardless of what happens on the community side and the marketing side and the front-facing side of Star Citizen, and we will yell at them till we are blue in the face when they make mistakes. And I'm really glad that we did, and I'm really glad that we do as a community. That's just one side of things. And Chris owned up and he said, this was me, this was my decision, and I'm glad he did that because it lets us back off the rest of people. But keep in mind, the developers that are just doing their jobs every single day have nothing to do with literally any of this. They don't get to make these decisions. They don't decide what gets shown off. They don't decide how much citizencon costs. They decide nothing. All they do is they go there and work. And the work that they do is phenomenal. They do some of the best work I think I've ever seen, and I'm really glad that they do it, and I'm really glad that so many of them are open to talking to us and to sharing their work and to being open about the process. No one has to go on and talk on Reverse the Verse or Calling All Devs or anything. They don't have to be on any of these shows, and they choose to. And just thank you to every single dev that works at CIG, because you've all made this entire journey fantastic. So thank you.
I will say that my experience in following development and being in more intimate connection with many developers because of being a streamer and being able to promote some games, no one has any idea how much work it takes to make a video game, except for people who've tried. It is incredibly time consuming. It's incredibly difficult. It's incredibly frustrating. It's incredibly boring. It's incredibly scary in many ways. And as someone who's been involved in theater, I have a minor in theater from when I went to college. So I've done a lot of productions. And theater, movies, television, games, they all have the same thing, which is there's a lot of effort that's being put by a lot of people. Even the worst video game in the universe,
E.T.
has, and I mean like actual video game, not someone slapped some assets together and said this is a game. But
Call of Duty.
Yeah. The worst, professionally made video game in the universe had a lot of people spending possibly years of their life on it. And there was a story I had heard about a guy who was a producer who, every time he went to a movie, no matter how bad the movie was, he would stand up and clap at the end because he knew just how many people were involved in that production process. So, and it's always important to take that into account with any game, is that games are not easy to make. and anyone who's working on it is choosing to do that and is probably losing sleep. And even though you may not like a game, or a game may not fulfill the promise that it was supposed to originally, or even if it's the best game in the universe, you always got to take that into account.
Portal.
Lots of people worked really hard on the game, and you the least deserve the respect.
Yeah.
Somebody loved that game. Somebody loved making that game.
And more importantly than that, more importantly than that, especially in today's climate, people deserve your respect, period. Whether they're working on a game, whether they're commenting on a thread, whether they're talking to you on Twitter, it doesn't matter where they are. People deserve your respect, period. Just be decent. Just
because it's on the internet doesn't mean you can be a dick. Talk to someone the same way you'd like someone to talk to you.
Yep. Okay, let's answer some questions. Fastcart asks, now we know the real reason why Jared lost weight. It wasn't to be healthier, but it's because CR cut back his salary to pay for citizencon. Do you think that he'll gain his weight back?
The amount of people who buy him beers is probably going to be enough to have him gain his weight back.
Yeah.
You don't understand. Like, I went to citizencon and I was like, in 2016, I was like a minor celebrity in compared. Like there were like maybe 30 people of those who really knew me, and I had 4 different drinks bought for me.
Oh yeah,
like,
same.
I can't imagine being Todd Pappy.
Just
Todd
here.
Pappy,
Here's 2 drink. Yeah.
Drinks. Here you go, Pat.
Who was it that I was talking to at 2016? Was it? No, it wasn't Brian Chambers. It was.
But Disco doesn't drink, but he would definitely be okay with you buying him food.
Yes. It wasn't Brian Chambers. I don't know. I don't even know who it was, but they had so many drinks handed to them at that point that.
Oh, it was Forrest.
No, it was someone else. I mean, it was probably all of them. Let's be honest.
Because Forrest was schnockered at there. He was super schnockered.
Dixie Rect asks or says, they constantly use the term first pass or something similar during this week's ATV. Is this concerning considering we're supposed to have Hurston and its moons in their entirety in approximately 40 days? Triangularity? Any thoughts on that?
I think that what we are watching there is probably not where they actually are in. They are doing work on a multiple of levels. So I'm not really concerned. Of course, it's a bit discomfort, making me a bit discomfortable for watching stuff like that close, of course, but no, not really.
Okay. Shiver, Paul, any?
It's not the finished version. This is what is being called the finished version of the first pass. Everything that we have now is not the finished version. Like mining, they're bringing in a new pass on that in the next patch. They're introducing space mines, so there is no such thing at this moment as this is the final thing and going to release.
I mean, yeah, welcome to Alpha. Everything is temporary. Nothing is the same. Everything will change. I can almost guarantee you that what we see in 3.3 will look nothing like what we see in the final game. And then in the final released version of the game, a year after the final release version of the game will look completely different from what it did originally. It's the nature of MMOs. It's the nature of development in early access. Shit changes a lot. I remember playing early Rust, and now going back to Rust, looking at Rust, I'm like, what the fuck? This is completely different from when I played it in early access or like a long ago. It's completely different. Sorry.
But still, it's if you watch, it's bloody good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm amazed at the level of detail that they actually are producing. I don't want it to be changed too much either.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, okay. We actually got a lot of questions. Thank you, everyone. Paul Shelley Jr. asks, can I have some V-Bucks? What are V-Bucks?
It's for Fortnite. And the answer is no. How'd you get out of your basement? Get back there.
Who likes Fortnite, honestly? Shivers Man asks, do you think that Shiver is full of poo and that citizencon will have important info about Squadron 42? I mean, we are human. We are human. We are all full of poo. And that's why we should all talk about the poo that we are full of. And also everyone should use a squatty potty. # not sponsored.
The only thing I've said about citizencon is NDA.
I am just gonna say, we know that the PR guy for Squatty Potty is a Star Citizen fan. Just saying.
I have been promoting Squatty Potty for weeks now and have nothing to show for it, and I don't care.
I've been shitting on the floor for weeks and I still haven't been sponsored.
And I don't care because honestly, you should get one. It will literally change your life. Pooping from a squatting position is healthier. Toilets are bad for you. It's actually why the vast majority of the world does not use toilets. Get a squatty potty. Poop healthy. Your colon will thank you.
Can I just wipe this bit out?
Biologically speaking, it's healthier because humans never were meant to sit down.
Yeah.
We poop on the move. It's the same reason why birth has been like birth in stirrups at a hospital
is bad.
Is been way down, or at least has been made less popular.
Yep.
Simply because women weren't designed to have birth in a giant metal contraption. They're designed to just squat and go because we're humans. We're sort of predators, but sort of not. So whatever we can't,
we are prey.
Fight, we run away from.
Yep.
So when we, so being able to just like plop and go in any kind of situation is preferable to having to sit in a giant porcelain god to wait for pooping to come out. Just saying, CIG, it's the future. Why do we have toilets that look like torture devices? We should have squatty potties in all the toilets.
It's true. Moving on. Tilu says, I was caught off guard about what Eris said about buying physical hangars on planets. Is there a finite limited amount of hangars in the PU and any kind of real estate down the line? And if so, how do you control it? Won't players already hoarding UEC buy all the stuff?
Why?
There is going to be so much space in the verse. Keep in mind, like, once they have Stanton, there's going to be more area in that one system than there is on Earth. Not to mention the other 100 systems. They are going to end up with more playable area between planets and moons and asteroids and everything else than probably every single other video game ever created, all added on to each other and shot out in a really weird and uncomfortable mess. So there is going to be more.
That's because they didn't use a squatty potty.
It's exactly because they didn't use a squatty potty. There will be more than enough room.
Yeah, and I think the reality is that they will probably make an entire section of Loreville just for hangars because it makes sense to have that.
Yes.
I doubt as well it's going to be you purchase this once and it's yours forever. They will probably have to manage it so you have to pay rent, otherwise it goes back on sale again. Because not every area will be very finite then.
And not every hangar will probably be for sale. They'll probably have some which were there for temporary rentals for people who are just stopping by and leaving. Because, again, that makes more sense, A, in a gameplay development or gameplay sense, and in a realistic sense, because if you could have someone pay large monies for a physical hangar consistently, sure, that's a consistent income, but then you can also make people pay exorbitant fees to rent a hangar, which you'd get more than that initial boost.
And what Tilu's just said, but there can only be so much real estate close to landing areas. I don't want to have a 50-minute walk to the ship. That's what CIG want.
Yep.
The closer you are to your landing zone, the higher demand there, but the more expensive they are, and depending on how busy.
They also have these things called trams.
Yep.
But it's intentionally built like that. You're going to be able to go all throughout Lorville on a tram.
Look at whatever city you live in. Guess what? The higher rents, the higher purchasing prices for houses are in a downtown core. It's when you live close to shit, it's more expensive. And when you start getting out further away, it's less. That is reality.
It's making the economy, it's making playing the economy more of a thing. You know, you will have people who are real estate agents who will have these primetime estates and either sell to you or you get in there really fucking fast.
Yep. Okay, next question. Songon says, from the 2016 holiday live stream to the digital ticket, what has been CIG's worst idea? Triangularity, what is the worst thing that CIG has done?
Well, that's
it's a hard question.
Think about it's a really hard question because how can I actually rate it? So.
Shiver, do you have any ideas?
LTI.
Damn it, Shiver! I was going to say the same thing.
Sorry.
Yeah, LTI. It's really good.
LTI? Are you guys all going with LTI?
I think LTI was the biggest mistake because it's the thing that it's the mistake that keeps on mistaking.
Motherfucking friend codes.
What?
That was going to be my next choice.
Friend codes?
The friggin' referral codes.
Oh yeah. I would say it's a
fucking bullshit.
It was a mistake. 100% that was a mistake. The referral was a mistake. I don't think it was as big as LTI because LTI has been that one thing that's been ever since its inception has consistently been fucking over people and completely changing the physical concept of the game more than anything else. Like now LTI, which was supposed to be a nice little perk, is now an essential thing if anybody wants a large fleet. Like it went from being kind of cool to being necessary to play the game with large numbers of people.
Concerned Gamer says, where's my female player models? 3.4.
Yeah, 3.4.
And if it's not 3.4, Riot.
Oh, yeah. They have no options at this point. They've been putting up the female character model for so fucking long. Like, no, there is no reason they shouldn't be already looking at the female character model.
If it ain't done, we gonna have some words, CIG. We gonna have some words.
God damn, dude, you do need to smoke some pot.
Right?
Isn't it legal in Canada now?
Yeah.
Just relax.
You can just imagine that. This is the relay station.
Hey guys.
It's Tuesday.
So
shit.
No. See, Eris is gonna go from being like, my God, man, to being like, hey, I'm Eris. How's it going?
See, I actually only do this here on this show.
It's just cathartic release.
It is. Yeah. I am completely chill in all other things. Fuck you, Shiver.
You slapped me twice.
I did. Noskavian says, I would love to hear a sample of Eris's Hamilton singing. Please sing Alexander Hamilton.
You gotta think of the right one.
I don't know if that's a thing I should do. We've got 100 people watching us. I don't want 100 dead people.
You don't want 100 people to hear your version of One Shot?
I mean...
Or I was in the room.
God.
No one else was in the room where it happened. I mean, I don't even know which one to sing.
What was the one that they sung at the end of the war?
Oh, God, there's so many good ones.
Bravestar1 says, have the Evocati invites gone out? And how do you tell if they are a scam? I received an email that looks awfully suspicious. Thanks, guys. Keep up the great content. Which is probably a pull.
I can't actually sing Skylar Sisters. Fast car.
I would say contact. Go if you're worried it's a scam. Go on to Spectrum and try to contact one of the
the people in charge of it. Try to get in contact with one of the CIG developers and see who you need to talk to. Or get a confirmation, like write an email back saying, hey, I'd love to do this, but I want to make sure this is legitimate. Please send me like your employee ID, your name, and your handle, so I can get in contact you on Spectrum. Those would probably because it's not like
they've started asking for like copies of identification. For
they always ask
for IDs and things like that.
Oh,
right. Okay.
Yeah. When I signed up for it, I had to send it.
Somehow defeat a global superpower. How do we emerge victorious from the quagmire? Leave the battlefield waving Betsy Ross's flag higher. That's a quagmire. Yo, turns out we had a secret weapon, an immigrant you know and love who's unafraid to step in. He's constantly confusing, confounding the British henchmen. Everyone give it up for America's favorite frightened Frenchman, Lafayette. Anyway, I'm taking this horse by the reins, making red coats where the blood stains. And I'm going to stop until I make them drop and everybody in the reins. Watch me enraged, and I'm engaged, and I'm out. I go to France for more fun. I come back with more guns and ships, and so the balance shifts. We rendezvous with Rochambeau, consolidate our gifts. We can end this war in Yorktown, cut them off at sea, but for this to succeed, someone else we need. That's right, Hamilton, so he knows what to do in a trench, ingenuitive and fluent French. I mean, Hamilton, so you're going to have to use him eventually. What's he going to do on the bench? I mean, no one has my resilience or matches my practical, tactical brilliance. Hamilton, you want to fight for your land back? I need my right-hand man back. Get your right-hand man back. I got to get your right-hand man back. I know you're going to put thought in leather, but soon better get your right-hand man back. Sorry.
Heramus asks, what is your early tactic for scramble races?
Kill everybody.
Kill everybody.
People. Yeah.
Use a tonk.
Murder, yeah.
Murder. Bloody murder.
Just for scramble races, just have somebody with a vanguard nearby, so that when the race
also,
starts,
you can all blame Niskavian for that. So that's Niskavian's fault, he asked. Blame him. Niskavian also...
This is why there's no such show as Canada's Got Talent.
Yeah, we don't. Niskavian also asks, do you think there's a reason why CIG has planned such a massive event for this year? Maybe some big announcement? I think that the answer is ego.
Yeah, 100% ego. It's because last year was big, so they have to keep going bigger. Every year it's been a bigger venue or bigger. They can't just sit on that. They want to be a real boy. They want to be a real game development studio. You know, they want to be Blizzard. You know, which is reasonable. But
it's classic Chris. Like, do you remember? I can't even remember how long ago it was. So it must have been a number of years ago. He wanted to put the upcoming 2-point-something release as Star Citizen 1.0, and everyone was like, "Dude, don't fucking do that. It ain't fucking ready yet."
Mm-hmm.
They did it, and everyone was like, "It ain't ready yet." It's great that he's got the enthusiasm. He wants to be there, but like he said in the initial update, he's comparing CIG to doing what BlizzCon does, and it's like they've released a shitload of games for a number of years.
I do want to
crawl before you walk.
Yeah, I do want to sit there and say, Chris, I know you're part of Origin, and I understand that was a big deal in the 90s. This is the 2010s. This is the 21st century. And Blizzard, though, was, you know, a peer of you when you were a developer in the 90s, is no longer a peer. They're now partnered with fucking Activision. People forget that Blizzard and Activision are the same company.
And,
all right?
I mean, has Blizzard released anything good in the last while?
I would argue that Overwatch is good.
Overwatch
was quite good.
And I would argue that Warcraft.
I would really like to see Blizzard do something other than Warcraft at this point.
They did Overwatch. That was literally what it was supposed to be.
Have you ever heard of this game called StarCraft?
Yeah,
StarCraft died.
I think
I've never enjoyed a Blizzard game ever.
I've enjoyed Warcraft. Warcraft was like two of my first PC games was Warcraft 2 and Civilization 2. So I love like Warcraft, and I do like I love StarCraft when it came out, and I like the stories that Blizzard tells, and I like their cinematics team, and I think they do really good jobs. And anyone who says that WoW didn't revolutionize MMOs is fucking kidding
100%. 20 years ago.
20 years ago, and yeah, they're kind of resting on their laurels, but Overwatch they completely changed the landscape again with Overwatch. Overwatch has spawned the hero shooter. Everyone say, oh, it's a copy of TF2. It's yeah, but TF2 didn't spawn shit tons of clones. Like Overwatch has. Like there are tons of clones out there in response to
I feel like Blizzard and Valve have both stopped releasing great stuff. I mean, Valve has stopped releasing anything. Anyway, this is way a stance.
My point is that Blizzard not only earned their reputation in their community by releasing addictive, if not very beloved games, but they've also are a company that's one of the big three: Ubisoft, EA, Activision. Those are the three big.
I do want to say something here. One, Ubisoft has been a hell of a lot better lately. They are turning into one of my favorite companies. Two, as much as everyone complains about EA, their response to the tragedy that happened last week is great. And I have the utmost respect for them for donating to the memory of the two players that were killed. So you may not like Ubi, you may not like EA, you may not like any of the companies, but they do actually.
EA, as my experience, has always been a company that is this close to being really good.
Yeah.
That's the reason why people hate them, is because they come out with really good ideas and they have really good developers who do really good work. And then EA is like, but money. And they just like, but money a little bit too much all the time. Like Battlefront 2 was, by all intents and purposes, a good game. If EA took the space combat mode from Battlefront 2 and turned that into worked on that and made it into another Star Wars, like maybe Rogue Squadron, like a remake of Rogue Squadron, that would be fantastic. That would be good. But they had to just fuck everything up with loot boxes. And it's just like they take hey, we're going to make a really good game that looks fantastic, that plays well, that answers all of the problems that people had with the previous game, but then we're going to put our dick in the cake. Like come on. That's the reason why people hate EA, not because of their.
That's how you make spotted dick, though.
and I think bringing it back to Star Citizen, that's the problem that CIG is starting to have, is that CIG doesn't necessarily intend to put its dick in the cake, but it's been putting its dick in the cake.
So the next question from Haramis says, can we make some nice tag for this standard issue of communications fuck up from CIG so that we can sort of sort it all by a button press in chronological order, like CFU CIG, for example? Well, we have that already. It's shit the goddamn. It's actually no. If CIG hadn't fixed what they did, this episode was going to be filled with CIG shit the goddamn, because when they announced this, they really did shit the goddamn, and they shit the goddamn harder than they'd ever shit the goddamn before. But they fixed their shit the goddamn, so I wasn't able to say that they had shat the goddamn. But I really wish I had, because I really like saying that they've shit the goddamn. But they didn't shit the goddamn because they shat the goddamn, then they fixed their shit. Goddamn.
Also, someone was bringing up. I thought he said bot, but he's brought up. But EA also canceled the Battlefront 3, which was a fantastic game that was being in development by the. But here's the fun part. Just tying this into Star Citizen. So the company behind Battlefront 3 was not LucasArts, because I think EA had at that point taken over. But it was another company that was then bought by Crytek to make, what was it called? To make the Homefront game. That was then, so then that studio was shut down. It was the studio that made Time Splitters originally, I believe. And they got shut down by Crytek when Crytek purchased them, and a lot of those employees ended up working for CIG. And one of the big things that game had was seamless ground-to-space combat transitions, where you could go to the ground, then go all the way to the space and fight on ships, and then go inside the ships and fight with 100+ players. And so the idea that we could have development to people from the fabled Lost Battlefront 3 now working on Star Citizen is kind of appropriate, I think. Yeah.
Thanks, Ghost. Shit the goddamn. Okay. Triangularity. Project Sinus asks, how or do you think that Chris Roberts' sorry was sincere?
Not the first one. The second one, and after he had it was more sincere. I felt that the first one was actually it felt a bit too kind of proper, and the last one was Chris, true and true, because he is an amazing person, and well, I felt that the reply was him. Yeah.
I felt like they were both probably him, and the first statement by him was a bit insulting to me as a person, and as a Star Citizen backer, where he was blaming us for our concern and for trying to get CIG to do the right thing. But at the same time, I think his second response was actually something that is really, really hard for lots of people to do nowadays. The fact that he straight up said, I was wrong. We're going back on it. It's going to be hard to do, but I was wrong. And that, especially for someone like Chris, someone who's, I mean, wealthier and more powerful than literally any of us here. He's directed, like he's a Hollywood star. He's a video game it was probably really, really difficult for him to do that and to own up and be like, yes, I was wrong. We shouldn't have done this. That to me is great. The first one felt a bit insulting, but I'm still really, really glad that he made the right decision.
Speaking of which, as he kind of went back and kind of said that they took the wrong decision, that is why I really like him.
Yeah.
And comparison to someone I will not mention the name.
I will add to that. I think this is the first time in Star Citizen development that CIG, if not, it may not be the very first time, but because I'm basing this more on my experience and more of my feeling in the last couple of years. Like that, this is the first time that CIG sat down and said, "We fucked up. We made a mistake."
Yeah. Because
CIG has never been conceding defeat in any of their mistakes. They've always said, "Yes, we messed up here, but," and then they usually would give like a reason, and then they would add on with something else. But we're still using it. We're just like, oh yeah, we kind of lost all of the development we've worked on with 2.0 because of the changes that we needed for 3.0. But we're getting planets now. So there was always been a kind of an excuse that they've used that would be, to try to smooth over that as if they had, there was something to make it better. And many times CIG has avoided claiming culpability for issues of pre-planning or issues of design that many people have felt like, for instance, the combat system in Star Citizen is still fucked up, and a lot of people have legitimate concerns, being like, combat is still fucked up. How the hell are we going to have Squadron 42, which is a combat game, in the near future if you don't have combat working?
And that's one of the things that we should be excited about this week, because one of the things we didn't even talk about, it's actually a question on here from Knoxville. It's actually one that I'm skipping entirely. We're going to deal with it next week, but it's thoughts on the CitizenCon schedule. Because on the schedule, there's a full hour presentation on how we're fixing spaceflight. I'm like there's so much to be excited for that we weren't even able to talk about this week because of the crap. But yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing, is that this is the first time Chris Roberts has eaten crow, and he's gone back on a decision, and he stifled his ego for the sake of the community, which I think is the right decision. It makes me consider that there's still some major decisions that have been made or that are being made that needs to have some oversight somewhere. But at the same time, it's okay to be wrong. And I think if people purchase these things, I personally am not going to purchase the digital package. That's just mostly me, because I think CIG needs to earn my trust back before I can buy more stuff for myself, or worthless stuff for myself. But if people buy this back, then it will send a message to CIG that people are willing to spend money if you are honest with them and you're upfront with them about stuff.
And that I think is actually the most important thing that CIG has to do. It's what we've always loved them for. It's why most of us are here. It's why we've been engaged and watched the development of the game for years. It's because we like the idea that they're honest about us and about the game, and they tell us things. And when they hide it, problems happen. So I want to start wrapping this up. There's a bunch of questions that we are not going to get to. We'll do them next week, because thank you guys for asking more questions. I think everyone heard me singing and got afraid. But the one last question I want to hit is Fastcart's question. Are you getting the goodies pack for $10?
No.
So Paul, you are not. You want them to actually earn your trust back before you spend any money.
If something like this happens again, then this whole thing will be for naught. If CIG learns from this and hires a PR manager, or takes steps to make sure to run ideas by the community in some way, shape, or form, that's not just Chris's ego talking, then I will support them like that again. But I can't, in good consciousness, support them like that.
I think that they should hire Jake from Relay as a PR manager. I think he'd be great, and he'd tell them when ideas are dumb, because he tells me when ideas are dumb. I don't listen to him, but
you can, and that's the key. That's the key. The issue for me is not getting the right ideas and figuring out if an idea is dumb or not. The idea is having someone who's not going to bobble over their head.
Yeah.
Having someone who says, "No, Chris,
this is dumb
because of this." And Chris can still go say, "Fuck you, I'm going to go with it anyways." But at least someone sat there and said, "Yo, this is dumb." And it feels like in the current decision field, there's nobody who's willing to say, "No, this is stupid," in the PR realm, because they don't want to get fired.
Yeah. Shiver, are you going to buy the digital goodies pack?
Well, I did buy the ticket, even though I didn't technically need to, but I did want the goodies.
You'll actually be refunded that.
Hopefully I will.
No, they actually released a statement that anyone who bought the streaming ticket will be refunded the ticket.
Then I probably won't put that back in. I will, if the new ship, or they bring out something I do want. I don't. The goodies. Yeah, no.
Yeah, they CIG did release. I don't remember where it was, but I did see a statement from CIG saying they will be refunding anyone that bought the digital ticket. Triangularity, what do you think? Are you going to purchase one of the digital goodies pack?
Most probably I will. I think it's a great way to... We understand that these kind of or shows do cost money, so I want to help them fund stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm going to get one, probably. And, well, everybody needs to fall down a couple times when they're learning to run.
Yeah.
So,
what do we fall, Master Bruce?
We Hamster just linked it there. Board Gamer asked the question from CIG: will backers that bought a digital stream citizencon ticket get auto refunded, or do they need to contact customer support? And CIG responded saying yes, it will be automatic and will be accompanied by an email to alert you that you have received a refund. Personally, and I just want to end this on my personal thought, CIG fucked up, and they fucked up hard. They fucked up to the point that I was considering not going to citizencon. They fucked up to the point that I know lots of people canceled their subscription. Like, this was not just about a paywall. This was about the trust of the community, and this is after and how they treat the community. And it's not the community that has money that we're worried about how they treat. We are worried about how they treat the community that doesn't. I've spent more than enough on this game that I don't need to buy a ticket, a streaming ticket, and I'm going to the event anyway. I will be there in person. None of this would have affected me, and still, I was concerned at the people that it would affect. And it's a small amount of people, because, yeah, you know what? CIG is actually right. Most people do want to watch this after the fact in 4K on YouTube. That ends up being more important. But there's a part of the community. There's something about a community that we want to gather. We want to sit around the fire and watch. And we want to watch together. And the idea that CIG were saying, no, you can't watch together, that's what hurt. And the fact that CIG have gone back on that is more impressive to me than just about anything else, because people have complained about lots of things that lots of game developers do, and most of the time it gets nothing. Nothing changes, nothing happens. And the fact that Chris was able to say, yeah, you know what? I was wrong. Everything is open to everyone from the beginning. The quality may suffer. That's fine. That is a freaking hard move. That is really, really difficult for someone to say. So yeah, I'm still a little bit pissed off that CIG had the gall to try this. I'm still a little bit pissed off that CIG don't know us well enough to know that they shouldn't try this. They've been dealing with us for years, and at some point, if they don't know that the community is going to get up in arms about something like this, then maybe there's something wrong. Maybe they're not in touch with us enough. But the fact that they were able to wake up and say, yes, we screwed up, we're backing off, that to me is important. And that to me, that realization to me says, yes, I will support you just because you listened to me. Because of the entire time I've been a backer of Star Citizen from day one, October 2012, has all been about CIG listening to me, and it's been about them listening to me and to only to me. I am the only opinion that no, it's about them listening to all of us, and the fact that they listened to all of us did actually reinstill me a little bit of faith, and I want to support them on that. So yeah, I bought the digital goodies pack. I have no interest in it. I honestly don't even know what's in it. But the fact that they listened to us as a community, and
sweet jacket.
Ooh, a jacket. I thank you CIG for listening. Straight up, thank you for listening. Thank you for backing down. That's a hard play.
We've all missed the most important news of the week.
Shiver, I'm cutting you off. We're ending the stream.
That was an RTV sighting of Melissa Estrada.
Okay. Thank you all so much for hanging out and listening to this. Triangularity, thank you for coming on. It was a pleasure to have you.
My pleasure.
Shiver, thank you for being my right-hand man and keeping me organized at all times. Paul, I'll see you in 2 hours for the Astropub.
God. Yeah, we're gonna. Oh, and we're gonna have Fast Cart, you, and who's the other one who hopped on? I know they hopped on kind of in the last minute.
I don't even know.
It was Fast Cart, Madness, ATC Guardian, and you. So it's gonna be an interesting.
Join us for that. Actually, I think I've got pod set. Join us there, twitch.tv/theastropub. I'll be on that. We'll be re-hosting or whatever it is. That's going to be a damn fun time. And I will probably reiterate there exactly what I said here. Seriously, thank you, CIG, for listening to us. And thank you to everyone in the community for standing as a community against something that would have split us into the people that have and the people that have not. That's something that we should always avoid, because we are all backers. We are all video game and Star Citizen fans, and we are all, at the end of the day, people, and we should all be treated as such in all things and at all times. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the verse.